welcome back to Uncle Fezzi's Book Bindery. So, what am I doing? Alright, well, I just wanted to do a little bit of content. I am not a bookbinder. As a matter of fact, I'm not even remotely. So, as you can see from this pile of shit that's surrounding me, which is pointed out by another viewer, I've been busy. I can either clean my shop or I can fucking work. Well, I'd rather work. So, what I have in front of me right here, right now, is book 4. And I'm going to bind book 4. Now, I'm going to spare you a good bit of it. Actually, I'm probably going to spare you most of it. So, what I have to do is, or the way this is done, which I literally just found out not too long ago, is you have to, well, obviously you have to write it, then you have to edit it, then you have to edit it again, then you have to have somebody proofread it. Oh, and for the record, the 4 people that proofread the book, I spelled hanger wrong. H-A-N-G-A-R is how you spell airplane hanger. I got a lot of free books going out. Free books for misprints. So, I corrected that. You have to turn it into an Adobe PDF file. Then you feed it into a signature program. So basically what a signature is, if you're not familiar with this, I didn't know what it was, is the way a book is folded. Now there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Professional binderies do big giant sheets, offset printing. They do big giant sheets and they like origami fold these things together. I tried that. Fuck that noise. I tried that. It was too much like work. So I did 4, as I mentioned in one of my other videos, I did 4 signatures, blah, blah, blah. I had to sew them all together. So basically what I'm doing now is what's called a perfect binding. And then I'm just putting a couple wraps of string around them to hold them together. These are prototypes. Each one is an individual piece. The other thing I've done, and I mentioned it in one of my other videos, but I did finally finish these, is I am 3D printing the covers. I'm not using traditional cardboard backing and paper covers and cloth corners and all that stuff. These are all prototypes for friends that can't figure out how to open a PDF file. Or, the truth of the matter is, once you open the PDF file, all my friends are old and you can't read it because the font's too small. So, what do we have to do? Now, first thing I've been doing, well, I did a couple things. I built this jig here to fold with. I 3D printed a right angle, which is pretty low, and this is a piece of melamine shelving material that I got at Home Depot. It's got a nice slick surface on it. And I have a bunch of different weight papers. Because I'm binding these myself, and I don't know what I'm doing, I put a lot of fly pages in case I have to rip some out, which I've had to do. And those of you who've got books can see that there's some errors in my binding techniques. Mostly I'm a slob with glue and whatever. But the book shouldn't fall apart. They all are sewed. So I have this 28 weight paper, which I'm using as my first page. And all I'm doing is folding this crap in half. So I'm doing what's called a perfect binding. This is a bone folder, which I had no idea. I knew what a folder was. I've used, usually, so this is weird. One of the most important parts of my job as an automobile painter was shockingly the ability to fold paper precisely. I know that sounds weird. It's like, why would that be an important part of your job? But masking cars off and wrapping things was very important. Folding and cutting paper was a shockingly important part of my job. So, yeah, I know how to fold paper. I know it sounds like stupid, but it's actually a little bit more difficult than you think it is, because you need to fold the paper relatively precisely. And the best way to do that is with a jig. I found is with a jig. The other thing I did was I had these laying around from a jewelry box that I never finished building. and I'm just tossing these into the jewelry box, this rack here, for a reason. So the bookbinder program makes the signatures. So when you open a book, it's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or when they come out of the binder, it's not like that. It comes out weird. So you have to know which direction to fold them. And speaking of not being able to see, which way to fold them, and so they all stack together, so when you're reading the book, it's not all screwy. So this is the first page. The one thing I did screw up, and it kind of irritates the hell out of me, is I don't know how to start on page 1. And I was told that there's a way to do it. I tried it, and I can't get it to start on page 1. So my fly pages are numbered. Oh well. You'll get over it. These are prototypes. So the other thing is my printer, literally the cheapest laser printer that I could buy, is a little sloppy. So there's a couple interesting things. It's not on this one yet. So there's a fold line in the middle. I just have it print the fold line so I know that when the fold line is up, that I'm folding it correctly. And there's a way that I figured out, and this is incredibly repetitive, I'm not going to show all of it. I figured out how to hold these so when I fold them properly, where I fold them, I can get them to fold properly. I don't even need to trim some of the books. So you also notice that the page is kind of offset. That's like that for a reason, so there's room in the center for the spine. I'm still trying to figure out the spacing, so there's still large margins at the tops and the bottoms. I don't care anymore. I'm tired of fighting with them. Mainly because when I change the margins in the typeset, I have to literally retypeset the book. And not for nothing, this book is only 420 pages long. Books 1 and 2 are in excess of 600. So when I go in and change anything in the typeset, I have to go through and fix the entire thing. Yes, I know there's programs that will do that for you. I'm cheap. That program's $300, and I don't particularly like it. So I'm using Pages and slogging through that way because I'm cheap. And I got plenty of spare time. As my friends like to point out, you don't have a job, you got nothing better to do. They're not wrong. So I'm going to shut the camera off and fold 416 pages, or 400, actually it's 421 pages, book number 4. And we'll get back when I go to the next step. Okay, you're gonna have to put up with the sound of the printer in the background, and I probably cut my head off, which, whatever. Nobody wants to see my ugly mug anyway. I am not a bookbinder. I'm not a lot of things. Most of the shit you see me do on my videos, I'm not any of them. I do just enough to get by, and barely clean, right? So that one kind of stung a little. Okay, so. You saw in the video I did a time lapse of how I sat here and folded 450 some or 425 some pages of my book. Now, one of the cool things, and I hope it shows up on camera, is the Bookbinder program puts basically it marks all the pages so you know where the pages belong. It's not as it's incredibly important. Not quite as important with perfect binding, only in that because perfect binding it's one page, well 4 pages, but it's one separate piece of paper for each one. So I just flip these over. Actually, you know what? I don't even have to do that. We're going to do it this way. Put it back where it was. Now, one of the cool things, again, and I don't think it'll show up on camera because it's real subtle, is these are folded almost perfectly. This folding jig that I made works fantastically. So I have these 2 call boards. Now, I don't have a traditional book press because I'm not a bookbinder. I'm a guy that is guerrilla printing his fever dream in his garage. So, but I do have a bunch of vices that I made for woodworking. Now, theoretically, paper is wood in many ways. So, I have these call boards, and what I'm doing is I kind of jig this one. I like the best because it's I put this piece of wood underneath it here. The other one I can't do that with. The other vice I can't do that with. And I get a nice straight edge there, nice straight edge there, nice straight edge there, and I have the call boards. And then I just take this. This is a hunk of perfectly 1-inch square stock. I think it was somebody's machine shop test. I think it was my great uncle's or great grandfather's machine shop test. But it works out fantastically for a lot of reasons. One is it's razor sharp. It's nice and heavy. I've been using it as weights, but it also works really well to kind of push these into position. Now they all have been folded with the bone, but they have a bit of poof to them. And we're going to take the poof out. And shockingly enough, there's a good bit of poof in the paper. Paper is actually kind of a fantastic thing, and once you start futzing with it, you kind of understand that. So now these are they're in the press, and I'm going to leave these overnight. It's getting late for me, and I have another one printing out. It took me less than an hour to fold all those. I started about 6:15. It took me about 45 minutes, and I dicked around a little bit in between. Once you start folding, you kind of want to keep at it. So once I start folding a book, I just want to keep folding the book. The nice thing with using the perfect binding is you only need to fold one at a time. With a signature binding, I have to fold 4. You have to count out 4 and then fold them. Count out 4 or 8 or 10 or whatever. And you fold those and then you do it. I showed it, I have the way to traditionally bind a book. These books are just a little bit too thick, and my printer is an 8.5 by 11 printer, so I can't make the books any bigger, and I'm not buying another printer anytime soon. My goal is to actually have this picked up by a real publisher, so there you go. Alright, next part of the video, or the next video, will be me showing how I kind of ghetto bind these together, or as I prefer to say, guerrilla press these together.